Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Nikki Starr, and today we're going to be talking about healing back to wholeness and love. You might be thinking, what does that even mean, back to wholeness and love? I like to say that when we're born, we are these loving, whole creatures. And I'm sure that you notice when you're around a newborn baby or a baby that's a few months old, there's a certain kind of energy there. It's very healing to be around newborns and infants. And I like to say they're as close to the divine as we can get. It's when we're in our wholeness and our purity. And then what happens is life happens, and there's traumas and there's challenges and there are pains. And sometimes you can see this kind of light go out in a baby, and then eventually with time. And a lot of times that can happen due to many things, from the foods children eat to what they watch on TV, to if any traumas happen, even if like a fall or something like this, or they felt some kind of an emotional trauma. That often happens where kids can feel abandoned when the parents go to the store, they're left with the babysitter. So in our journey, as we go through a spiritual awakening and we go on our healing journey as adults, even, it's to reclaim our wholeness, where every single time we experience some kind of pain or trauma, there was like a piece of our soul, for the sake of, I like to say it's like a defense mechanism. It kind of gets lost. And if you've heard in shamanic traditions, there's something called soul retrieval. And oftentimes you do soul retrieval when you go to a past trauma and you reclaim those parts of yourself that you may have shut out. So this is something also known in psychology, where there can be this type of amnesia that happens when a certain trauma is experienced, such as getting into an accident, where moments before that accident, the person doesn't remember anything. And the reason why that happens is so that people don't have a nervous breakdown. And over time, when you get stronger, it's possible that you can have those flashbacks and you can remember those moments as you retrieve those soul parts. So why do we want to do soul retrieval? Why do we want to collect back all of these parts of ourselves that maybe were left in different moments and places when we experienced a pain or trauma? The reason is because if you are not fully whole, then you go through life and you can end up recreating these traumatic experiences. Also, where there are places that we may have left ourselves, this kind of a lack of awareness or lack of wholeness in these different parts can create disease, believe it or not. One of the common things we see can be with women when there's been any kind of sexual trauma. There's kind of this disconnection to the womb, and this can lead to different kinds of menstrual pains and challenges with the reproductive system, and even disease in the reproductive system. And this is a very common one, actually, because many women in their lifetime have experienced some kind of trauma connected to that space, even if it's intentionally or unintentionally by perpetrators or men. And so that's just one example. Another that can happen it's very common, is children, as I mentioned, connected to abandonment and creating these type of attachment patterns in relationships. So the moment we go through healing, and I'm such a fan of healing, as you all know, obviously as a former medical doctor, I was seeing people when their emotional pains were manifested into physical disease. And what really interests me now is looking at how we can prevent physical disease by healing the emotions and the pains and the wounds and the traumas of the past before they manifest into physical disease. Because oftentimes the body is a really great signal. It's a really great alarm to tell us, like, hey, pay attention here. There's something going on. Maybe a suppressed emotion, a trapped emotion, or a part that is not being looked at. And this idea of wholeness also happens where, when oftentimes there is a trauma or a pain, we may want to reject a part. So for example, let's say as a child, I was told, which this actually happened, that I was a bad singer, right? And so then there's a part of my throat in being able to express myself fully that maybe I reject. And then in rejecting that, I'm not whole and complete. And then I could suffer from challenges and wanting to sing and express my mission and purpose in the world. And the truth is there's some truth to that, because some of the healing work I do is vocal healing and singing. And sometimes I think like, oh no, I can't share that with the whole world. I only do that on one-to-one sessions or in my programs, right? So you can see how these little things that happen in life, even if they're little micro traumas, can cause us not to be our full selves. And when we really embody true love, that is when we fully accept all the parts of ourselves, even the parts that are imperfect, the parts that experience trauma, the parts that experienced pain. And when we accept them within ourselves, we accept them within other people. And anytime we love a part of ourselves, it's like a healing for that part. So as we come back to wholeness through our healing and that self-awareness around where we may be leaving some of our parts or rejecting some of our parts, we reclaim power and we can step more fully into love for ourselves as well as other people. So the point of this video today is to inspire you to do your healing work. So whether that's to go sit in meditation, work with a healer, a coach, a medicine man, a shaman, whatever it is, or a medicine woman, whatever comes your way that is a healing modality, I always suggest you go for it, especially if it inspires you, if it's something that intrigues you, try it out, go through the series of sessions, because your entire life will benefit. We all are on a healing journey. That is the human experience. So I invite you to share this with a friend, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for being here. See you again soon. Bye for now.